Tonight's big stories. 80 people reported dead over the weekend, most of whom are vacationers out on holiday for the Holy Week. A majority of those who drowned were reported in Ilocos Region and Calabarzon. Authorities say this is the highest rate of drowning incidents in recent years. The National Police is now urging beachgoers to include safety precautions in planning out travels.
And a fire broke out in a residential area in Taytay, Rizal on Saturday evening. 7 individuals, including 2 children, were killed in the fire. Several houses were also destroyed by the blaze as authorities are still looking into the cause.
And Filipino and American troops are set to stage their biggest ever Balikatan military exercises starting tomorrow. Over 17,000 troops will participate, nearly double the size of last year's. The massive war games comes amid China's increasing assertiveness in the South China Sea and towards Taiwan. We'll get the latest on the preparations for the 18-day exercises with Balikatan 2023 spokesperson Colonel Mike Lohico, who will join us live later in the program.
From the nation's capital, I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Sean Yao.
And I'm Regina Lay. The big story tonight. Well, welcome back. With the long Holy Week break done, most are back home and preparing to get back to work tomorrow. But this year, the Holy Week break is ending with a disturbing statistics.
Dozens of Holy Week vacationers met a tragic death this weekend. PNP reports state that around 80 people had drowned in different provinces.
The incidents have now sparked concern on proper safety measures in holiday sites. Mobile journalist Francis Orsho with the big story.
This year's Holy Week had become mournful for several families who lost their loved ones to tragic deaths. Over the weekend, dozens of vacationers were reported dead after drowning in different areas in the country. In the latest tally by the National Police, 80 people have died, but this death toll is still expected to rise. Authorities said most of the drowning incidents recorded were from Ilocos Region and Calabarzon. In Barangay Sambal in Lemery, Batangas, 5 died on Black Saturday. They were cousins who agreed to go for a swim but ended up drowning in strong sea current. They were rushed to the hospital but were declared dead on arrival. 6 cousins in San Jose, Camarines Sur also suffered the same fate. What was supposed to be a fun trip ended in disaster. In Isabela, 7 incidents of drowning were recorded, including a man who tried to cross the Angadanan River while drunk. According to initial reports, the man fell into a deep part of the river. With more people going on summer trips, authorities remind everyone to be careful, especially when going swimming.
Nakikipagtulungan po tayo, ma'am, sa LGU para po mabantayan po itong mga hindi naman otorisadong paglangoyan po. Patuloy nating paalala sa mga magulang na huwag pong hayaang maglangoy mag-isa yung kanilang mga maliliit na anak para maiwasan po yung ganitong mga aksidente po.
Many are now asking what was the reason behind this large number of deaths. We spoke with Francis Orsho earlier on what likely caused this high number of drownings.
Sean, local authorities are looking into rip currents as the reason for these deaths. Rip currents are strong currents that move away from the shore and can drag even experienced swimmers deeper into the water. Rip currents can flow quickly, are unpredictable, and come about from what happens to waves as they interact with the shape of the seabed. To survive a rip current, anyone caught in it should swim parallel to the shoreline and not towards the shore, because that will only wear you out. Rip tides are the leading cause of beach rescues in the United States, so this is no light matter. Travelers should keep in mind if there are lifeguards in the area, and as much as possible, do not swim by yourself. Sean?
Thanks for that, Francis. All right, rip currents, of course. We have 7,000 islands, lots of beaches. But Francis already gave the answer. You swim perpendicular to a rip current. That's how you get out of it. So if you notice you're going this way, just swim that.
That's very hard, right?
It's-
Because
because you're panicking.
Correct. The natural instinct would be to try to swim back to shore, right? But again, that's as you
I don't
pointed
think
out,
I don't
that's
think
wrong.
we've talked about it enough. I mean, we always relate drowning to not knowing how to swim,
Yeah.
but this affects even experienced swimmers.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't know, or if you're caught in one, I think the first thing it should be to stay calm.
To try
And
not to panic.
Yeah, to
Which is
float.
going to be the hardest challenge, Gretch. Trying not to panic
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
like totally not in control, and then you realize like, oh, Mother Nature is so scary,
Right.
so threatening. But again, swimming lessons can help, but it
You guys
won't
know how to
help
swim, right?
you- Of course.
Not good enough to swim against a riptide, I have to
No
say.
one is good enough.
But exactly, that's the point. No one is strong enough to swim against a riptide.
yeah.
You have to swim along the shore until the current stops pulling you in.
And you will
That's the
notice,
key.
all of a sudden,
Right.
you're actually
But-
moving in the right direction.
But again, easier said than done.
Well,
So-
it is good to remind everyone not to swim without a lifeguard or companion, but also noting that most of the accidents happen not just in beaches but also in pools.
That's
So
right,
it's actually one of the leading causes of deaths among children aged 1 to 14. So just a reminder for everyone to
Another
take their
thing-
children to
yeah.
swimming lessons, right?
Another thing is that I think with this Holy Week drowning incidents, it's not just the rip currents. A lot of boats did capsize, so maybe consider putting on the life jacket that
True.
a lot of people just use for decoration. Or once the Coast Guard is not there anymore, people just take it out, right? Or they use it to cushion the seat.
Pero meron din palang meron ding pamahiin Don't swim
that's right.
during
During
Holy
Holy
Week.
Week. On Good Friday
I mean, they're
especially.
blaming it on that, but
Right.
it's also good to know that it's revenge travel season. There are a lot of vacationers, so it could probably be the reason why the rates are so high.
Also that, I mean, of course, not a lot of beaches were open last summer, but now everyone's out. And probably during the pandemic, a lot of children also just didn't get their swimming lessons.
Look, all I can say is it's so terrible opening the show on this story.
That's true,
right?
that's
It's
true.
such a disturbing statistic, right? And so, our sympathies go out to the families that were affected. And again, a reminder to try to familiarize yourself with surviving a riptide.
Well, Red, Sean, aside from drowning, the long Holy Weekend was also marred by a fire incident over in Rizal that claimed the lives of several people on the eve of Easter Sunday. Mobile journalist King Senko with the report.
Roland Javier almost fainted after seeing his wife and daughter's bodies being retrieved from their house. They were among those burned in a fire incident in Taytay, Rizal on the evening of Black Saturday. A total of 7 bodies were recovered, including Roland's wife, Maria Cristina Javier, and their 2-year-old daughter, Martina Rolaine. Roland said that he was at work when he had a phone conversation with his wife while their house was on fire.
Unang narinig ko lang nung tumawag siya sa akin, tumitili sila. Tumitili lang. Susunog na kami, yun lang. Hindi ko na maintindihan kasi yung takbo ko talaga, as in talagang sobrang tuloy ng takbo ko, pauwi lang.
Roland thought his wife and child managed to escape.
May hope pa rin ako na mahanap ko sila sa labas. Yung harapan pa lang, parang sobrang lakas na ng apoy talaga. Iniisip ko na lang kasi na yung gina ko nakalabas.
Roland said his daughter had sweet messages for him during a phone call just hours before the blaze.
Bago pa siya mangyari yun, tumawag pa yan ako, sabi sa akin, "Tatay, I love you." Yun, tapos sabi, "Uwi ka na." Yun nga, yun sabi ko, uwi na talaga ako. Nag-stay lang sa Santa Lucia ng konti kasi papagas ako.
Also killed in the blaze were Roland's mother-in-law, Lilia Macaranas, his sister-in-law, Carla Hernandez, Carla's husband, Joey Hernandez, and their 12-year-old son, John Kaizen. The 7th body was a neighbor, Jeline Sabaybay. A resident said that they warned Roland's family about the fire and even knocked on the door multiple times, but nobody answered back. According to the Bureau of Fire Protection, it's possible that the fatalities were trapped while the house was on fire. The Fire Bureau said that their trucks had a hard time reaching the location due to narrow streets in the area.
Mabilis po ang alarma, sir. Nahirapan pong pumasok ang ating malalaking truck dahil po sa sikip po ng mga kalsada papunta dun sa area. Meron pong isa po na nagsuffer po ng first degree burn sa likod po niya.
The incident lasted for more than an hour and was declared fire out past 11 in the evening. Estimated cost of damage was at 1.5 million pesos, while the cause of the incident is still being investigated.
Now, just a little while ago, King Senko gave us the latest on this incident. We asked him what investigators believe may have caused the fire.
As of the moment, investigators have yet to officially determine the cause of the fire. But some reports say investigators are suspecting that faulty wiring inside one of the household could be the possible source. This incident has again prompted fire officials to remind residents to have their electrical wirings checked annually and to avoid having multiple connections on outlets and leaving unused appliances unplugged. Regina?
Thank you for that, King Senko.
Up next, the biggest Balikatan exercises between the Philippines and the United States begin tomorrow. We will have Balikatan spokesperson Colonel Mike Lohico to fill us in on what to expect when we return. You're watching the big story here on One News. It's all systems go for the biggest Balikatan exercise between the Philippine and U.S. militaries, which will run starting tomorrow to April 28. Some 17,600 members of the AFP and the United States military are set to participate in the annual War Games, almost double last year's 8,600. It will be held in various areas in the Philippines, including Zambales, Aurora, Antique, Palawan, and Fort Magsaysay in Nueva Ecija. Participants will work on areas of maritime security, live fire training, counter-terrorism, and humanitarian assistance, as well as disaster relief preparedness, among others. The biggest ever Balikatan exercise kicks off just as China ends its 3-day military drill in Taiwan amid heightened tensions with the U.S.
Now here to talk more about tomorrow's Balikatan exercises, we have with us on the line Balikatan spokesperson Colonel Mike Lohico. He's joining us live via Zoom. Colonel Mike, welcome to The Big Story. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let me kick it off. You said in a recent press briefing that this year's exercises will basically test the troops outside quote-unquote traditional training areas. Could you tell us more about that?
Yes. By the way, thank you for inviting me. Like you said, this year's Balikatan, we will be doing something different. We will be operating outside our traditional training areas because in this particular iteration, we will be exercising maritime security, maritime domain awareness, and coastal defense. This naturally will make us have to go to the littoral areas because that's the only area where we can test those concepts, and that's the only area where we can exercise all of the 3 major service components: the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force.
All right, Colonel Mike, with the new 4 additional EDCA sites that have been added, how can we expect the nature of the Balikatan exercises to change this year and in the coming years?
Well, we expect that the additional EDCA sites will facilitate the execution of Balikatan better. It will support the entire concept of the exercise, at least in the area of logistics and in the area of support from that both our AFP and the US side can both use mutually.
We are hosting the biggest Balikatan exercise ever with the U.S. military, the Australian Army as well being there. And some are worried about the timing of these exercises given the tensions with Taiwan. China's also holding military drills over there. What can you say about the timing as well as the conduct? Is this in response to that? And is there any new program when it comes to defending over on that side?
Well, if you look at our past Balikatans, every Balikatan is held around this time of the month, in the month of April. So whatever tensions going on in the regional level, it just so happens that they are timing it with Balikatan. So, but I prefer not to react to that in the same way as we do not also expect them to react to our exercise as well.
All right, that was Balikatan spokesperson Colonel Mike Lohico joining us on the line. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll speak to you then.
And President Bongbong Marcos led the commemoration of the fall of Bataan, saying that even though the Filipinos lost the battle, it marked the beginning of the Filipinos' resurgence as a fighting force. Marcos made the remark during the 81st anniversary of the Araw ng Kagitingan or Day of Valor at the Mount Samat National Shrine in Pilar, Bataan. The president likewise said that his administration is working to improve the pension system for war veterans to ensure that all of them are properly covered. And once a stable pension system is established, Marcos Jr. said his government will look for benefits that could be given to our World War II veterans.
Pag naayos natin ito, saka na ngayon natin tignan kung ano pa ang maaari nating ibigay. Lalong-lalo na sa World War II veterans dahil kung maalala ninyo, a few years ago, It was only a few years ago na kinilala ang ating mga veterano at ibinigay ang kanilang back pay.
Right after this quick break, one transport group has opposed plans to approve more TNVS units in Metro Manila. The move, they say, will only lead to more traffic jams and even higher fares. We'll be speaking with Laban TNVS President June De Leon when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. One transport group is opposing plans to open up more slots for TNVS units in Metro Manila. Laban TNVS says more TNVS slots means more congestion and possibly higher fares. The group said this in response to the LTFRB's plan to open 10,000 slots for TNVS units in the capital region. Laban TNVS also says that aside from aggravating traffic, the move might affect current TNVS drivers who are reportedly having a hard time booking passengers as it is. The group says that demand has already gone down after its peak during the holidays. Now, to give us a bit more clarity about that statement, we have Laban TNVS President June De Leon on the line. June, welcome to The Big Story. Thanks for joining us. June, can you talk us through that?
Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat.
Magandang gabi din. Can you talk us through that statement of Laban TNVS? Why are you exactly opposed to opening up more slots for TNVS applications?
Yes. Kaya po ino-oppose ng Laban TNVS ang pagdami ng mga TNVS franchise ay dahil maapektuhan dito ang maraming existing TNVS sa kanilang kita. Ngayon pa lang po, sa mga panahon na to, mababa na po ang kinikita dahil sa tumal ng bookings. Tapos kung lalagyan pa nila ng additional 10,000 bookings, magre-resulta po ito ng pagkalugi ng buong TNVS industry.
Sir June, tingin niyo po ba ang problema po dito ay timing? Because I remember in December, we were asking for more slots and there wasn't enough supply of these TNVS cars. Parang sa pagsasaka lang din po ba yan na mali yung timing nung pag-open up? Sir June?
Hello?
Sir June, okay. So,
Yes, Ms. Gretchen.
do you think po this is a problem of timing for government? Kasi noong December po, kulang po yung TNVS supply.
Opo. Nung December po, syempre, holiday season po yan. Aminado po tayo na nahihirapan ang ating mga pasahero na makapag-book. Pero after holidays po, ngayon, talagang nahihirapan naman makakuha ng bookings ang ating mga kasamahan na TNBS drivers dahil 30 minutes to 1 hour ang interval bago makakuha. Pero pag ito pa ay dinagdagan ng additional na 10,000 franchise at additional na 10,000 na sasakyan sa kakalsadahan, talagang mahahati po ang kanilang kita at magre-resulta po ito ng pagkalugi. At the same time, imagine ngayon pa lang po ay napaka-traffic na sa Metro Manila. Dagdagan po natin ng 10,000 na sasakyan. Ito po talaga ay baka hindi na gumalaw ang ating traffic. At pinoproblema nga po ng mga LGUs natin at MMDA at ng MMDA ang traffic dito sa Metro Manila tapos magdadagdag ng 10,000. Kailangan stakeholders ng TNBS.
All right, that was Laban TNVS President June De Leon. Thanks for joining us today.
A low-pressure area that entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility earlier today could become the country's first tropical cyclone for 2023. As of 3 p.m., Pag-asa estimated the LPA at 750 kilometers east of Borongan City, eastern Samar. If the LPA develops into a tropical depression, it would be given the local name Amang. The Weather Bureau said that the trough of the LPA is affecting eastern Visayas, Surigao del Norte, and Dinagat Islands, where cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms are likely. Meanwhile, parts of the country will experience scattered rain showers and thunderstorms due to the northeasterly surface wind flow. Affected areas include portions of Luzon, the western parts of Visayas, and some areas in Mindanao.
And that was the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analyses. I'm Regina Lay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. Stay safe, Philippines.
I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News, all sides, all the time.